Okay, we're gonna try this again. First recording didn't go through. I don't care. I'm gonna mention it. Anyways, here we are. Work in progress. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning into this very special video. Um, so today's video, as you can see, it's something a little bit different. I've got a couple of guests. We're gonna talk about one of my favorite things, which is Assassination Classroom. And this video will be released on March 13th, 2022, in celebration of Koro Sensei's birthday. So, happy birthday, Koro Sensei! And we
Happy
cannot wait to discuss
birthday.
about this,
Happy
talk about this
birthday.
show. So, a little bit of backstory. I wrote a couple of different reviews for it, and none of them really felt right. They didn't feel like I could do the show justice. I could do the story justice, the manga, the art, this, that, or the other. All it just kind of always boiled down to was just a summary of the story. And I don't want to give a summary of the story. I want people to read the story or watch the story because it's just so good. So today we're going to talk about our favorite parts of the story, how we got into it, why we like it. And so the first half of this talk will be that, and then the second half will be we're going to discuss some spoilers. So we're going to try this again. We got a couple of guests here today. We have Jeremiah up in this corner. We have Isaac up in this corner from Dude Let's Chat, people who I frequently collaborate with. They're fantastic. So welcome to the show,
Oh,
guys. I'm glad to have you
So
here.
sweet.
So we're gonna start this off. Jeremiah, what is it about this show that you like, and how did you get into it?
starting the spoiler freeze talk, it was something that was definitely different at the time. You
Mm-hmm.
know, classroom setting obviously isn't too different, but then there's this teacher with tentacles. There's this beautiful story about it. It starts off very different, but still
Mm-hmm.
very lighthearted. There's a great mix. Like from there, it just had me. This isn't even just the three anime start. Like I was like, okay, episode one. Okay, let's keep going. Um, it was a beautiful mix of comedy with a deep underlying story to great character development. It's just it
Mm-hmm.
had all these really good points to it. Surprisingly, too, I was in a phase where I was looking for anime that I wasn't hearing too much of, like not really the mainstream. And surprisingly, this wasn't mainstream. It kind of freaked me out. Like, why am I not seeing more of this other than certain like little plushies, little
Mm-hmm.
things here or there? So that's what got me for it. It is definitely a great story. So
Yeah. Definitely. So Isaac, why don't you kick us off? Why don't you go next?
Okay, so my how I got into it is completely out of the blue. For so you guys don't know me, I'm Isaac, and I
Mm-hmm.
am really big into bloody, gory animes, right? So I had just finished watching Dead Man Wonderland, which is like one of my favorite animes. And I was like, okay, what do I watch? Like, let's see on Funimation what's available that could give me that bloody, gory, action-packed anime. And then right off the bat, I see Assassination Classroom just right there, and my mind kind of triggered to a older anime. I can't remember. Now Jeremiah may know. I think it's the one where it's like a battle royale with students. You know what I'm talking about, GC? Anyways,
Royale with
it's like
students. I mean, there's Danganronpa, but I mean that's not necessarily a battle royale.
I can't remember what it was called, but basically it was like a battle royale. So I figured it was something similar to that, right? I figured there's a bunch of kids, they're gonna try to kill each other. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be action packed. It's gonna be nice and bloody. And then I watch it, and the opening kind of starts off dark, and then it gets all cheery, and people are jumping up and down, dancing. There's an
Oh yeah,
octopus
Those
guy in there,
openings,
those openings,
and
those
openings,
openings.
fire, man.
and I'm thinking, it's a Japanese anime. They got even the gory stuff needs something cute about it, right? And then I watch it, and then before I know, I finish it, and I'm like, you know what? It wasn't what I expected, but let's just say I was not disappointed at all.
Definitely,
It, it
definitely. It
prepared
was a
it
PG
prepared
13 adolescent
Yeah.
anime. The
yeah,
most PG 13 I would ever consider a PG, even almost PG.
Yeah.
Just the most tame anime about a tentacled teacher I have ever seen.
Yeah.
I'd
So
have to
I
say
like
that for Japan standards, it's definitely
Yeah.
PG, but a Western audiences might see it borderline PG-13 with some of
Yeah.
the more sexual stuff.
no.
Any
There are some. Yeah, there are some. But before I just want to say one thing. I will say it cracked my top 5 all time favorite animes.
oh,
So
Oh.
take that how you will.
nice. So um basically for me, I've only been into anime and manga for about a year now. I think about it was my what kind of what I'll just give a little bit of backstory before I get into it. What kind of springboarded it off for me was I watched Your Name and Weathering with You.
Oof.
Um two of like the greatest movies I've ever seen, period, amongst any medium, whether it be live action or animation. So and my friends were like, you got to watch this, you got to watch that, you got to watch this, you got to watch that. So basically what happened was I went during my vacation from work, it was my intention to play video games, but I decided to just I downloaded Funimation, I subscribed to it, and all of a sudden I spent my entire vacation getting caught up on My Hero Academia. And then I think after that, I think I binge watched all of Black Clover. And and a friend of mine in a different Discord recommended Assassination Classroom. He just kind of threw it out there, and I just kind of I sort of like shrugged it off, like, to begin with. But then there was a clip. It just kind of randomly popped up on my YouTube, and it was a clip from episode 2 where Karasuma comes up to the students, Kayano for that matter, and he's like, "What are you guys doing?" And they're like, we're trying to stab Koro Sensei. He's a pinata up in the tree right now." And and so we're trying he messed up the flower bed, and he said that we can try to kill him. And I was like, and then all of a sudden you see this yellow tentacle monster up in a tree just zipping around, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And then I was like, okay, I got to check this out. So I watched episode 1, and I was like, uh-oh. um I think I got something I got to watch now. And I I was very careful. I've become really careful when it comes to my anime and manga reading. I really do my best to read the source material first and then finish with the anime. And uh I watched a couple episodes of season 1, and I was like, okay, time to watch the anime, or time to read the manga. And I'll read the manga first. And then so I have the Viz manga app on my phone, and I was reading it, and I was like, and then I started kind of reading it and watching it in conjunction. And then I ordered this, and I was like, I said, and then I was like, now I have to stop because I want to be able to read all the physicals. So I actually had to wait. It was and it's interesting. This story came in at a very interesting time in my life. My grandpa was dying at the time, and he was somebody who raised me when I needed to be raised correctly. I lived with him during my early and mid 20s, and he set me straight. My grandpa set me straight in ways that I needed to be set straight. And I was reading, as he was sort of passing away. I was there at his house, and I was helping him with some of his stuff, and I was reading the manga. And then yeah, and it all kind of came together in this perfect place. And like, we'll talk a little bit about the ending a little later on. And it just sort of became, it is right now currently my favorite anime and manga, simply for the emotional impact that it had on me during a time where, like, I needed some sort of emotional impact. So yeah, it's incredibly special to me. Um
I
what else?
appreciate you being open about that
Yeah.
too. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
didn't expect that, bro. But yeah, anime in general and manga and just a lot of the Eastern cultural like media
Mhm.
that I like to get into. I feel like impacts me a lot more than the Western stuff here. Not saying there isn't anything, but
Yeah.
and definitely when you find that kind of gets you out of your niche, out of your comfort zone, and really starts to like hits you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you found that in that, man.
Yeah.
Like,
And I've since reading, this is supposed to be a conversation about Assassination Classroom, but since reading Assassination Classroom, I have come across stuff that is like, okay, well, this is probably better written in this place. The animation is probably better here. Maybe there's certain story elements that are better here, but like, but the reason why this remains on top, even though that there are better things out there, is because it is a very, very it is probably single-handedly one of the best coming of age stories I've ever read. And I no matter how good something is, I don't think I will ever come across something that will be better than Assassination
mm,
Classroom,
it is
emotionally
unique.
speaking.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
It is unique in my
Hmm.
opinion for everything it did. I understand there are things that could do certain aspects better. I don't think anything blended together the perfect amount of comedy, of feel good, of
Hmm.
deeper, of like I said, coming of age, of acceptance. Like there's just there of loss, with a lot of the deep, of different storylines and
Hmm.
people, like there's just like all of that together. That is a perfect blend,
Oh yeah.
like
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it is what it is.
I mean, like most animes, most animes have life lessons, right? But I
Hmm.
would
Yeah,
say
yeah.
for me, Assassination Classroom, because of, when I was watching it, I mean, I'm in college, right? And when I was watching, I was like, there was moments where I felt overwhelmed from all
Hmm.
the school I had to do and this and that, and then you watch that, and he has some quotes. I'm just like, you know what, man, you're right. You know what?
Yeah.
So like, whenever, like for instance, one of the things that kind of stuck out to me was when uh I can't remember his name. You might be able to help me out with this. Which one's the kid that like he felt like he was the dumbest out of all of them? Like
Tarasaka?
Taraska,
The
I
one
think,
with the
right?
streak in his, yeah, the delinquent,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, the
Yeah,
delinquent,
Yeah.
yeah.
Traska,
So
yeah.
like he was getting frustrated and struggling, and Kuro Sensei wasn't like letting up. Like he kept doing his best, and then one of the lessons he was saying is like so when there's moments in there when
Spoilers, by the way, everyone.
well
Spoilers in this situation,
there's
but
there's not really much of a spoiler
Yeah,
though.
I don't think this is much of a spoiler.
are you sure?
Yeah, because I'm just saying this one scene where they have moments where they're doing math tests or problems or
Hmm.
whatever, and they do this whole animated sequence, where they're fighting a giant
Oh
monster or
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So
Mm,
and like they have stuff like that, and the students are like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? And then they're like, remember what Sensei said, you know, just take it piece by piece, and then it'll all come together. And then they all get together and they defeat the monster, which was the problem on the test.
Hmm.
So like that's what I did for myself when I was taking a test. I was like, you know what, it ain't that big. Just take it piece by piece, and then you can figure it out, which in turn helped me pass a lot of my classes.
yeah.
I, I really think that teachers should watch this show.
His
Oh
teaching, I mean,
wow.
I would say this. There are some things you shouldn't do that he does, but the message is great.
Yeah,
I
no,
think I
exactly.
think that any teacher with only 2 limbs should consider getting 6 more, and then also
um,
no,
and
but I agree. No, there's a lot to this, and again, without going into too much detail just yet. But my thing is, especially like the later half of the anime, if
mhm.
that's all you're really gonna go for, like the lessons in the second
Oh yeah.
season, and I mean almost every other episode has a lesson, and it's just. And my thing is, we don't usually touch on that in anime. Like we really
Yeah.
usually don't, and yeah, we'll go into that. But I'm just saying, I agree. Like I think that if you're teaching kids, this is definitely an important thing to consider.
Mhm.
Like yeah,
So with that being said, should we go into the spoilers now?
might as well.
I
All
mean, we
right.
could,
Gloves
yeah.
are off now, kids. Cut it off if you don't want to
Okay.
know. Go watch
I
it. Go
know.
read it. Go have some fun.
Yeah, so at this point, if you're watching this video and you have not watched Assassination Classroom, be warned, everything going forward, we're going to talk about some of the bigger moments in the show. It's going to be spoiler heavy. Um,
Mm.
so give you a couple seconds here to click away and go watch a show. All right, let's get into it. So, what are some of your guys' favorite moments in Assassination Classroom?
Favorite moments. Okay, well, I'm gonna kick it off. My absolute favorite, and sadly, it's not as deep. So I mean, it's more the comic side. But I
Sure.
knew from the start because I watched it first, and I knew
Mhm.
from the start because of how it was. I saw season 2 over season 1. I saw the episodes, and I saw season 2, episode 2, with them in the cop stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's going to be my favorite episode. It just looks too good. Just that one little thing, and it was that
It,
entire episode of them doing cops and robbers with the
mhm.
kids.
Yeah.
Like to me, after everything that happened in season 1, and then to just go right back to the comedy and to make sure after all the seriousness that just went down, all the crap
Mhm.
they just had to go through with the school, with the principal, with all of them, and of course the ending, and so just to bring it back to the comedy, despite how serious it's getting,
Mhm.
despite just talking about how, hey, we're more than halfway through the semester now, we're getting close to that time, it's and to
Yeah.
keep it that light, that good, just I just promised my brother in the hospital that I'd win tag today. You know, this officer didn't see nothing,
The
and he calls the other teacher. What's his name?
Kurasama?
Oh god. Yeah, Casa, and he's just
Kurasama.
like, "What are you doing out there? You're making this apartment look like crap." And it's just like, it's
um
just that's mine. I'm gonna tell you right, like that's number one. It might not be a deep moment, but it was important when you
oh
in the
yeah,
story.
and like as much as I love the anime, it's disappointing because um about a third of that little mini arc, or that little story, it was cut. Um
Mm.
and
Yeah, there's more in the manga and stuff,
yeah,
and yeah,
there's there's some really great moments in the manga that were cut from the anime. There was I forgot what his name was, but they're in the manga, and it's in the it's in the latter half of the story. The smart, like one of the nerdier kids in the class, like I said, I forgot his name. He gets transferred to class 3A,
yes.
and he sort of betrays 3E,
Yeah,
or
E.
and then he comes back with a bang, and it was so awesome, and I was like really looking forward to watching that episode, and then it just skips, and I was like, no. But
I definitely was sad when that what like when you go back, it's like, oh, now that would have been. But like
mhm,
I just guess they were running out of time. They're trying to,
mhm,
but I do agree, like that would have been great.
yeah.
Like,
So Isaac,
yeah.
what about you? What are some of your favorite moments of this show, this manga? Have you read the manga?
So for those of you out there, that may stone me, I don't read mangas.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't
Well, it's
stone you.
fine.
You're not here.
That's fine.
I know, and the thing is, I've tried, but the thing, like, I read enough at school. I
I
just want to
feel it.
watch something. I just want to watch something.
That I
But
feel it.
but man, like there's not a particular. I mean, there's. I did like when they had kind of like that field day where they have the tournament with the
Hmm.
prep kids, as I call them.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about?
The
Yeah.
yeah,
the
So
the
that
they did the
huh?
is it the pole toppling?
Yes. Yeah.
yes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, that was pretty intense, and you know, but honestly, I didn't really have one moment. I had, I guess you could say, segments within each episode that I really enjoyed. So there's two of them. One segment I loved is when you see Kuro Sensei as like inhuman, like in
Mhm.
makeup to be human,
Hmm.
where
Oh,
he's
yeah.
deep frying a check to eat it, or he's going Mach 6 speed to go watch a baseball game or to get an ice cream,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like stuff like that. I'm just like, I mean, flex by all means, do you? You're a god, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But another segment that I like that happens. I mean, this one doesn't happen in every episode, but it does happen.
Mhm.
Is when Hiroto, the broke classmate,
Yeah.
he does this thing for instance when they're at the carnival and he's winning to get those goldfish, and they're like, "Wow, you're really good," to only see him
Wasn't
later cooking
that was
them.
that was Yuma
Oh,
Isogai,
was
I
it Yuma?
believe. Yeah, I believe
Okay,
that's Yuma.
but
Yuma,
okay, so
yeah.
Yuma. But like,
Be-
he's he's cooking up the goldfish he caught because like he's so poor like he has to eat it, and then like he has a job which could get him in trouble, but he's
mhm.
like, I mean, I'm like, you know what, dude, this dude is a grinder, and I respect
Mhm.
that, man.
Yeah, he's the sort of de facto class president.
Yeah,
I
like
believe they sort of name him the head of the class because he knows how to keep his cool, um, and he's just very sort of chill. He's a very chill person, um, and yeah, I do my best to try to remember the names, especially the ones who have big moments, and he has a few big moments in the show, but definitely his biggest moment was the pool toppling, uh, because
yeah,
uh, because the that kid and I'm drawing a blank on him, uh the head of class 3A, um and he
the
catches
president's
him,
son, right?
the principal's son, yeah.
I mean, the principal's son, yeah.
Yeah. So let's see, some of my favorite moments. That's really hard because the whole thing is like a favorite moment. I mean, and for this season 2 probably is just like I really like all of the second half of the story just simply because like that's when everything is kind of happening, right? Like the real the real things are happening, and you're learning about all of these characters and their issues. You've got Nagisa and his mom, trying to dress him up as a girl, and that's that's like some heavy shit right there, right?
Oh,
Like,
the
Yeah,
issues that some of these kids had on and off the field, like, so that
mhm,
we're not just
oh
dealing with
yeah,
the textbook cookie cutter main character and
mm,
people. Like, there was actual issues that had
yeah,
to be addressed, like real issues, and that's what I really liked about this.
mhm,
Real issues, not just like the poor kid. Like, it's a joke, but you get to feel it too. Like, he
yeah,
has to work. He doesn't get the
yeah.
pleasure that everyone else does. He
yeah.
doesn't get to just be a student. He has to do this. Like, uh, yeah, no, I
I,
like that these were not cookie cutter characters.
Oh
Each
yeah,
one of them
I,
and
unique.
I will say this though, I did find it kind of funny. Not what happened to what's his name again? Shiota, right? The one that
Nagisa Shiota, yeah, yeah.
yeah. I thought it was funny. I think it's in season 2 when they do like the whole operation, and basically they're like, so I mean, we have girls on our team, but like you're prettier than them,
Yeah,
so they dress them up. So they dress them up as a girl,
Yeah,
and
it's,
yeah.
like
that's the end of season one,
That's
isn't
the
it?
end of season 1, yeah.
yeah,
End of
Yeah.
season one,
yeah,
where
yeah.
yeah, like, we might be it,
And,
but you rock it. And he just blushes.
yeah,
He's like, oh, like,
and they cross dress him, and it gets to the point where the guy that he has to flirt with legitimately was like obsessed with him,
I know.
and
And
then
then
and then and then when he and then when he finds out that he is a guy, he's like, but like, can you pretend not to be a guy?
yeah, like, can we make this work? Like, because I can make it work. Yes, no, like, was it just a job? Like,
um
it's
and
it's beautiful.
yeah, it's so
It's
great. And
beautiful.
then um I think another part that just sort of in it kind of was just it was so crazy and intense both in the anime and in the manga was, of course, we find out that Kaino is the sister of Koro Sensei's
Yes,
love and just
lover.
Yukimura,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
that
The
part
reveal
was.
after her operation, the gel, because that was one of mine. It's like, but I really liked that reveal. How that itself was a whole ruse to make the
Mhm.
biggest pudding, thing for him. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is great. It's just a, by the way, oh, and she has the like it was a beautiful reveal. Great execution, by the way. I
Mhm.
was like, that honestly should have worked if it wasn't for writers. That man should be dead. Like,
Yeah, and you know, between like the drawing in the manga and the animation in the anime, it was so that was such like an intense situation, and like Koro Sensei is like basically ripping himself apart to be able to communicate to the kids, and like he's like, all I can do is manifest his face in front of you guys, um and then of course, like, Koro Sensei's backstory. It was so like gut wrenching, and God, so such a good story, such a good story,
Yeah.
and I think and I'm about to say something blasphemous. All I watch 99% of my anime dubbed, and Sunny Straight, in my opinion,
how
just
dare
like
you? How
yeah,
dare
no,
you?
he killed it as Koro Sensei in all of it. Um, I will say this though, sometimes like Sunny Straight's voice doesn't quite match the way that Koro Sensei's human form looks. So
Mm.
it is a little funky, but Sunny Straight as Koro Sensei the alien works just fine.
Yeah.
um,
Actually,
um,
I'm gonna jump off that just a bit, because I watched it in sub, and this
mhm.
is why I did love this series so much. I went back in dub because if I like something, I want to watch it in both and see
Yeah.
if I'll appreciate it. And I will say, I did like him as Kuro Sensei. I like the president or the principal. I think they
Mhm.
actually had a really good cast in dub. And
Oh
don't let
yeah.
anybody dub shame you, bro. Don't let anybody
I
dub
don't.
shame you.
I
Yeah.
Uh,
refuse to be dub shamed. I don't
I,
care. Yeah, I
I was
refuse.
I would say like if you
What's up?
guys watch any of our old content, I legit call out all the elitists that
Yeah.
doesn't people watch dub. I'm like, man, I don't give a I don't know how your content is. I don't give a f what anyone thinks. Like,
Hey,
because my
I
thing is,
used to be that elitist, and you just can't. Like my thing is, once you find out about the illustrious Chris Sabat
Yeah, I know,
and
right?
J. Michael
I
Tatum,
mean,
when you hear Bryce Papenbrook as four different people sounding like the exact same little boy you want to hold,
I
like
yeah,
know, right?
even like bro, like there are some iconic, amazing ranged voice actors out here.
yeah,
Sorry, go ahead,
Yeah.
Isaac. Sorry, man.
no, I'm just saying. There's nothing wrong with convenience, okay? Because if I'm
Yeah, no,
studying,
Mhm.
I'm,
of
I
course.
can't read and watch an anime. But
Yes.
I want to go back to Kuro Sensei. I will say, regarding his backstory, I thought it was freaking awesome because his
Yeah.
backstory led to forgive me, but I can't remember his name. But the whole arc where the students are captured by
Mhm.
this other guy, and he's like, "You inspired me because I saw how
Reaper
you."
2.0.
Yeah,
Yeah.
assassinated my dad with so much swag,
Yeah.
and
Oh
he
my gosh,
literally
yes.
like he sliced his throat and caught his wine and just started sipping the wine like a G, right?
I know, right?
And I'm like, oh, that's so sick. And it's just weird that you see that, and then you're like, but you're a teacher, like what? But one character we didn't give no shine to, which I feel like he deserves it, is
Karma.
huh?
Karma.
Karma?
The
Which
the kid.
character are you
Karasuma?
talking?
The
Karasuma?
Karasuma, the agent?
Oh,
Karasuma, yeah, the
Karasuma.
agent.
Yeah,
Yeah, Karasuma.
Karasuma.
Yeah.
That dude is top tier. Him and um I just know
Bitch
what they
Sensei.
call it bitch sensei.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
call that. But it says it in there. That's the
Yeah,
13 and the
yeah,
PG
Exactly.
13
yeah.
is what
Yeah.
that's the 1 out of 4
And
words they say.
like the agent dude, like he has because for the most part he's in the background, right? He's
Hmm.
just
Mm.
chilling. Like he's like, he's helping with the students where he can and this and that. But there's moments where you're like, yo, this guy is
Karasuma.
intense.
Karasuma is um he how do I put it? He has some of the best moments in the entire series, in my opinion.
Yes.
He can land some serious funny stuff, and then he can land some serious like hardcore stuff. Like he is just like, and watching him in funny situations is hilarious, and then watching him in hardcore situation is just badass. Right?
Ex-
He is a great character that you don't get enough of, in my opinion, both in the anime and in the manga.
But
You're
to,
right, he's just kind of in the background,
no,
but
but
he's still a
no, but to
primary
be honest
character.
though, but to be honest, I like that because he kind of, in a sense, I mean, why do people like Boba Fett, right? Why do
Yeah.
people like Darth Maul? Like these people with a little screen time, but when they're on the screen, you're like, yo, that dude
Mm-hmm.
is sick, man. And yeah, like, and then like you were saying, he has his funny moments, and what makes it funny is because him as a character, he's so bland and just
Yeah.
basic
Yeah.
and straightforward. Like his funny moments isn't him cracking jokes to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's just he has such a
He's
stone cold
unintentionally
face.
funny. He's
Exactly.
unintentionally funny.
Right,
And
like
Yeah.
the end of the end of season one, where he's standing next to Kuro Sensei, like, yeah, we did good here. Tries to stab him one more time because, like, even though this is a nice deep moment, he ain't forgotten, and you
Mhm.
better not have forgotten what's about to go down. Like,
So,
yeah.
I
um,
said karma. That's the he came in episode 2. He is supposed to
yeah,
be the
karma.
star student. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I thought
Yeah.
you were going to go with
Yeah.
him because I feel like we really overlooked the fact of he
Oh
was the
no.
shining people who had some of the most development in the entire
No,
show.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, he
yeah,
From
did.
the
yeah.
yeah, like
You are right though. We like he is one we did overlook too. And honestly,
mhm.
he should have been one of the first people we mentioned because his when once he is put on the screen, he leaves a huge impact to her. Like every episode,
Mhm.
you're
Mhm.
like, what is this guy gonna do? Like every character for the most part. I mean, there are some characters with smaller bits, right? Because I mean,
Mhm.
you only have so much time. You have like
Yeah.
26 students or whatever.
Mhm.
But he's one of those where you're just like, okay, he's one of the top dogs, and he's a stone cold killer. But you start to see him evolve and his development
Mhm.
as a character. You're like,
He
yo,
didn't have to actually try because he
yeah,
didn't meet the bill. It's like, bro, it is what it is. You know, like you're a
yeah.
star student. Time to get on your crap. It's like,
And the thing
no,
is,
I
like,
love it.
and the thing is, like, he take like like the criticism he gets, he's like, all right, bet. And then
Yeah,
he goes and like he doesn't
he
crap
literally
about it.
is the personification of I bet,
He is
like throw
like
it down, like
Yeah.
you call him out,
say I
he's like,
won't.
all right, bet. All right, watch me
Mhm.
do it. And I'm like, he got that Mamba mentality, baby.
Yeah. Um, okay, so moving into the last segment of this show, let's talk about those last couple of episodes, those last couple of chapters, those last
Oh,
couple of
Oh
volumes,
man,
the heavy stuff, Koro Sensei's birthday. This is what we're here for, right? It's Koro Sensei's birthday. And you know, that was heavy. So to set the scene, right? Koro Sensei's been trapped by this, like he's trapped by this shield. He can't get out of it. And there's this giant space laser that's about to eviscerate him, and his students are cut off. And they're racing against the clock to get to him. And there's they it was so much more intense in the manga, but the anime still does it really, really well. But like, we get there, and uh um they bring him a birthday cake. They're gonna have say happy birthday, and it's just this beautiful moment, and then it's interrupted by Reaper 2.0 and that other guy played by J. Michael Tatum. And and yeah, so that, like, I had the ending spoiled for me. Like I mean, there is sort of like this inevitability that you kind of get, and you can see that in like the progression, even in the OPs, the intro music. Like you know that something's gonna happen. Um, but like still, like, you get to this point, and like it's still really difficult to watch and to read. And yeah.
yeah, like
So
that. That was so. like, but I guess that's part of it too, you know, like
Mhm.
that actually. So if you want to talk about my favorite episodes and scenes, I'll get that. But one of my absolute like things that just frustrate the crap out of me in anime in any media is the forced happy ending.
Yeah,
And I was worried getting closer to the end that they were going to keep this thing alive. That we were
I
about
know.
to code Geass it, and suddenly he's on a fucking cart, in in a hay cart with Kurasama just like, okay, hey, ha,
I know,
like
right?
what is this? His lovers there. It's like, come on now. I like what separates this from Beyond the Boundary. If y'all have watched or read that or anything like that, is that. And I won't go into too much detail in case anyone wants. Like they both are beautiful, but
Mhm.
this was something that has to happen.
Yeah.
You have to end this man's life, and that's the life lesson I love the most.
Mhm.
Sometimes there isn't a happy ending. There's just an ending that has to happen.
Yeah. No,
Like,
I
I mean,
like,
I wholeheartedly
I mean,
agree.
I mean,
yeah.
for me, I mean, I may sound kind of odd, but for me, like there was a happy ending because I enjoyed the fact that his students took his lessons
Mhm.
and you see them post it. Like for instance, Shiota, he got inspired by him to be a teacher,
Mhm.
right? And he was one of the more skilled assassins, but he was like, no, like what he taught me, I want to pass on to the next generation,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And then there are some like because I think there's like these two characters that are like legit assassins. Like they get like they're sharpshooters, and they
Yeah,
find their
yeah.
calling, and then one of the other students, he becomes like a cook because he realized, oh, like I'm good at this, and
Mhm.
like for the most part, each character walks away with something that
Yeah.
impacts them to better themselves like in the future. So I'm like, okay, so he may be gone, but for with Shiota, like right off the bat,
His
he's
lessons
living through
remain.
him.
Yeah.
Exactly, like, especially with him going because
I agree with that.
he's gonna take what he learned being taught by the sensei. He's gonna reenact the same thing to everyone else, to where his legacy will live on, right? His
Yeah.
teachings and all that will live on. So for me, like
But
I
is
look
that a
at
happy ending or is that a
I think so.
fulfilled ending? Like that's fulfillment,
Well, I mean,
and
it was.
that.
I found it kind of happy because it's one of those things where they could be like, okay, he's dead, so we're gonna cry about it, and then we're just gonna live off and do whatever we want. But instead, they're like,
Well,
no,
there,
no, we're gonna.
there has
I
to be
think I
closure. But
I think it
honestly, no, I will. I'll agree with you. Like that is a happy ending to me.
yeah.
But my thing is,
Yeah,
so my wife, she did not like the ending because she wanted him to live. And I'm like, girl, we can't. Well, this isn't Sailor Moon. We can't just moon
Yeah.
tiara magic and bring back Uranus. It just don't happen. Like sometimes there's not anything you do, and that's why I love this was
Mhm.
about teaching lessons to kids, to
Yeah.
adults, to everybody, and loss is just as important as to life. So happy birthday, Koro Sensei, to your
Hell
life
yeah.
and your death. That
happy
is
birthday, man.
Definitely.
obviously so.
Yeah, and
Like,
like I said,
oh,
even through an anime, some of the teachings that he taught them, I'm like, I keep it in my like mental notes in my head.
mm-hmm.
So I'm like, you know what?
So not to go backwards again, but like, didn't you like how in the midterms they didn't necessarily win? They showed up,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
yeah,
didn't just. So I love that. That just showed how well
mhm,
he developed. The development of these students were,
Mhm.
because like, yeah, you got on the board. I'm just proud of you for doing that. But you could have done better, and they come in spitting hot fire. It's like that's
yeah.
what I like to see. That right there. But
Definitely.
I just wanted to go back to that. Just said, like, I just feel like they did well from start to finish, and it's
Oh,
hard
big
to say
time.
that. Yeah, for
And
two seasons, it's hard to say an anime does it like that.
I'm a big fan of and I can see that you want to say something, Isaac. So I'll get to you in just
Yeah,
a moment.
sorry,
So,
sorry.
um, I love a story that has a beginning, middle, and end, and it doesn't force itself to go any longer than it should. And um, I'm seeing that in I I personally don't have issues with where My Hero Academia is at story wise, but I can see why some people would be frustrated with like how it's ending, or and I can see why some people want it to go even longer. But some stories need to have endings. And in my opinion, Assassination Classroom needed to have an ending. It needed to have a beginning, middle, and end. And it is actually, it is a solid length. I think it's only about, it's 21
Flex on them.
volumes.
Flex on them, Whip. Flex on them.
Yeah. Sorry. So I just gotta casually just throw the walk down, baby. Guap, baby. Like
it's just to kind of like mess with the Batman quote here, but it's basically like it's not the ending that we wanted, but it's the ending that the story deserved. Like it's like it's a perfect ending, and it needed to end the way that it did. And
there's no other way.
Yeah.
There's no other way. Like you would have dropped the ball any other way.
Yeah.
Like
so Isaac, what was the point?
Yeah.
What did you want to say there?
No, I mean you kind of said what I was gonna say. Like,
okay.
Like for instance, so growing up watching anime, I wasn't used to watching these long running shows because I was poor, I didn't have cable, so I only had DVDs, and I was
squiggly channels and
yeah. So like I watched Full Metal Alchemist, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Die Hack, stuff that had a beginning and an end, right? And when I got exposed to watching the Naruto's, Bleach, Dragon Ball, I did not like I enjoyed them. I Bleach. I prefer Bleach over Naruto, right? But there are moments where I'm just like, dude, 80% of these episodes could like not be here, and I would be happy.
Yeah.
Naruto, and it's still going on with Boruto. I'm like, no, just you had the perfect ending, but you couldn't let it go. You couldn't let it go, and you ruined it, right? I mean, people may disagree with me, and for me, like,
disagree in the sense that they should have just called it Naruto 3.0. Should have been Naruto like Shippuden, Shippuden Daijin or something like that. Like if they would have just done that, I've been down with it.
But
the life and death of Naruto, like
but like I'm on the fans of why I like Fullmetal Alchemist, because it was the good story from beginning to end, right? Why I like Assassination Classroom? Good story beginning to end. I don't mind things ending if it's done properly. Like another anime that Brent hasn't watched that I highly recommend is Gurren Lagann. Gurren Lagann.
Right. Yeah.
I would admit the first couple
I'll
episodes.
tell you what, I'll watch it. I'll watch it this weekend. I'll get those first 6 or 7 episodes out of the way this weekend, and
because I will say for me personally, and from what I can tell from others, it is hard. It's a hard pill to swallow going in, but once you get past that, it's the greatest roller coaster you've ever been on.
If you can get to the first emotional scene in that, and if you can get to the first emotional scene, and then tell me that you're going to stop there. You're right.
Exactly.
You're right. It's not for you. You don't have to keep going, Brent. But seriously, you get to the first.
Yeah. So like I said, if you like, I was say if you just like stories that have a beginning and end, and you don't have to worry about like, oh, what's gonna happen next, or like, for sure, watch this.
Yeah, definitely.
It's perfect. It's perfect as is.
Well, with that being said, we need to wrap it up here because we've got another thing going on here pretty soon. Well, everyone, thank you for tuning in. And Isaac and Jeremiah, thank you for coming on to this with me. I really appreciate it. Man. Go ahead and tell us who you are and where we can find you.
So we are Do Let's Chat. We talk games, movies, and all things in between. And you can find us on all social media platforms under Do Let's Chat. And just to tell you a little quick rundown about us, like our slogan says, we talk about games, movies, all things in between, whether it's gaming, animes, comics, like I said, movies, anything, honestly, anything that piques our interest. So if that's something you're into, be sure to check us out. We will appreciate it.
They'll be linked in the description.
And also every Thursday, 9:30 Central Time, Brent as well, he'll be there. We do live streams of our podcast. So if you want to hop in, talk to us, for sure, go ahead and do it. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And and another thing too, if you enjoyed this episode, subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Don't be a dick, all right? Don't just get this content and leave. If you like it, support it, man.
Hell yeah.
You don't
Thank
have
you
to.
guys.
But you should. I mean, like the passive aggressive, like you don't have to. There's other fish in the sea. I'm gonna miss you though. Please. Like
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for watching this very special episode. Happy birthday, Koro Sensei. Check out Assassination Classroom if you haven't. And please consider liking, subscribing, and check out Dude Let's Chat. They're linked in the description below. And check them out every Thursday, 9:30 Central Standard Time. They do a great podcast. I frequently am on it, and I thank them for that. So we will see you on the next one. Thank you very much, everyone.